Hello everyone, are you ready for some more Stampin' Up fun? My name is Sherry Minnie. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I live in Colorado in a little rural town called Keensburg. And today we're using one of my favorite stamp sets. This stamp set is actually found on the online exclusives that were released in July of this year. So I'm making this kind of an encouragement card. I have some friends who are struggling a bit, and I just am trying to encourage them in the way that I love to do by sending cards. So here's our card. Pretty quick and simple. This is a card. I'm actually filming this really early. I'm filming this on Wednesday the 17th because I've decided that I need to try and film whenever I have a moment in my schedule that gives me the time to do it. I will actually be uploading it next Tuesday, and by that time, card class will be over, and this is a card that we're doing in our card class, and my ladies like to have videos on them so they can go back and review and maybe make this with a different stamp set or whatever they have in their stash. So I made it an encouragement card. It could be any kind of card. It would make a beautiful sympathy card. Just whatever you might need. So that's what the sample looks like. So here's this stamp set that we're using that I absolutely love. It's called Prairie Grass, and it does have a lot of nice sentiments for sympathy cards, encouragement cards, but you could put any kind of sentiment that you wanted. I just love these silhouette stamps, and it just seems like a very calming stamp set to me. Pardon me again, still struggling with the allergies. In addition to that, we're using a couple of different die sets. We're using Branching Out, and we're actually using these labels. I'm using the second one, this one here, and that's what we'll be stamping on. This has a matching stamp set. I didn't bring it over, but I do have it. But I love the label dies. They're always so handy and so nice to have. We're also going to be using the same kind of die that I showed you last week that is called More Messages. And you can stamp all these labels out. There's a matching stamp set. You can stamp out the stamps that come with this set. But it didn't have the kind of greeting that I wanted, so we are just actually going to cut it out and use this one little corner one right here. And our only ink color is one of the new ink colors. It's called Secret Sea. It's becoming one of my most favorite colors. And we're also using as embellishments, these are low profile sparkle dots. You could use anything. This happens to be Darling Duckling, Mossy Meadow, and let's see, what's the top one? I think the top one, yeah, is Secret Sea. And we're using, there's a lot of Darling Duckling in our paper, so we're using these for our embellishments. And I'll show you a little bit of the paper. As you know, I love this paper. I've used almost all of it. There's actually 6 patterns. I only have 4 left, so we'll be using a variation of these 4 in class, since the card I'm making is this one, but I don't have enough for the whole class. And it is kind of busy, but I just love it. And then on the back side, it's got just more subtle patterns, and this, we'll use the back side of this for our little strip in the front of our card. So that is that. So let's get started. In our packet, you will have already had, because the class will be over by this time. By the time you see this, you'll have a Secret Sea card base, our normal 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You'll have a piece of one piece of basic white for the backing layer in the front, and this is I always forget this, 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then you'll have a piece for the inside, which is 3 3/4 by 5. Our designer series paper measures 4 by 5 1/4. And then this little strip, which is the opposite side of what we're using for the big layer, is I think this is 1 inch, and I cut it a little bit long. It's about 5 1/4, and maybe that's about what you need. I try to make them a little bit longer so that if there's any discrepancy I can trim them off, but this one I did not do that on that one. Then you'll have another piece of Secret Sea, this 2.5 by 3 7/8, and another piece of basic white for our stamping. It's 2.5 by 3 3/4. So I think we'll do our stamping. Well, actually, we'll do a little bit of die cutting here first, and then we'll do some stamping. So on your basic white small piece, you are going to take the branching out die, and I'm using the second from the smallest, if I can get it out. And we're just going to take this, put it on here, and we're going to run that through our stamp and cut emboss machine. And when you do that, you come up with a little piece like that looks like this. And this is what we're going to stamp our, I think I'd call them reeds on. And here is that stamp. And we are going to use our Secret C. We will ink this up. Now my Secret C is really juicy, so I'm ending up with I'm going to put a paper under it because I'm kind of getting it everywhere and it's been getting on my fingers and smudging. So on this stamp, it's pretty simple to stamp it. We're just going to line it up here. I did put a little extra pressure on the bottom where it's pretty solid image, just so we get a nice image, and there we go. Now, darn, I am so sorry. Since this is a very dark color, it does take a moment to dry, so don't try to do anything with it. Give it a few seconds to dry. We're going to do the same image on our envelope. And I just moved it down a little bit. I didn't put the full thing on there. And we will do the same image for our white piece. For the inside. Okay. And that takes care of the reed. Boy, I'm really bad this morning. I'm sorry, I wasn't like this earlier. Okay, where is my other stamp? What did I do with it? Did I not bring it over here? Okay. I guess I didn't. So if you'll see on the front here, we have this little saying my shoulder is yours. And so what I did is I just went in my scrap bin and pulled out little scraps of the Darling Duckling, which is what I'm stamping on here. So I took this stamp, inked it in my Secret C, and I'm sorry, I guess I swore I brought that stamp over here, but it's running away from me. And then I stamped it on here, and then I took this More Messages, and I fooled around with a lot of different ways trying to do this, because I don't really like to run all of this. The only part of the die we're using is this, so I'm not running it all the way through. I just run it through my Stamp and Cut emboss machine down to this point, and then roll it back out, because I don't like to roll that. But anyway, if the stamping were there, you would just take this, line it up, get it straight and centered, and then run it through, and you'll just have that. And when you do that, then you end up with something that looks like this. And actually that one's a little lower. This one is much better. Something that looks like that. Pretty small, but exactly what I was looking for. Now on the inside layer, I have this set up on my little stamp positioner, and I'm going to put this in here. This magnet is so strong. I had to put a little bit of tape to try and so I could pull it up when I needed to. And then we're just going to ink this up, and like I said, mine is so juicy. I try to be very careful with it. And we're going to just put it over and push down a little bit. And perfect. I love the way that looks. Then I can pull this up and give that a moment to dry. Whoops, I better put my magnet back, because the first thing you know, I'm missing my magnet. Okay, I think we are done with the ink. We'll close that, because you know what'll all happen. I'll be putting my finger or my hand or something in it. Okay, so now let's work on our front a little bit. So I'm going to take my little 1-inch piece of designer series paper. And I apologize for my squeaky chair. It's old. It's very comfortable. I've tried every way I can to fix it, and it just still squeaks, so I'm sorry. Okay. And then I'm just going to eyeball this. Oh, guess what I did? I put it on the wrong side. That's not going to work. Let me see if I can cut. Do I have a, yeah, I do. I have a trimmer here. Let me cut this. Let me cut another piece off here real quick. Like, not very smart on my part. Apologize. I don't think you want the same. So I'm just going to cut a 1-inch strip. It's going to add a little bit of time to my video, but hopefully it won't be too long. And then I'll just cut it at 5.5, and that way it'll be plenty long enough that I can trim it if I need to. There we go. Now we will try and put it on the right side. Make it much prettier. So I will just put this, and I brought it in maybe 1/2 inch or so. Whatever looks good to you is fine. I just tried to make it somewhat straight. Okay, and since this one is a little bit long, I can just take my scissors, trim it off, and that way it's the exact right length. Then we will take that and we will put it on our basic white. This is, like I said, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we'll put that right on the front of here with just a tiny little border, and therefore I'm using my liquid glue so I can wiggle it around a little bit if I need to, which I probably will. Okay, I made this the first time without the white behind it, and I just didn't like the way it blended into the Secret Seed card base. So here we have our card base. We are going to, if you hear noise in the background, that's my husband getting his lunch ready. I'm doing this right at lunchtime. So we're going to take our inside piece, put it down. Okay. We'll turn this over. We will put our front piece on, and again, you're going to have just a small border on the front of your card base. Okay. And we'll take the 2.5 by 3 7/8 piece of Secret Sea and our little stamped reed. And I could use, let's see, I don't think, no I didn't. I could use Stamp & Seal, but since I've got my liquid glue out, and again, try and get this straight as you can, because it is fairly noticeable if you don't have it somewhat straight on your, when you put it on your card. I thought, or maybe it's an optical illusion, I don't know, but I had a hard time thinking if it was straight. I measured and it is straight, but on my sample, but it doesn't look straight to me. Okay, that's about as good as I'm gonna get it. And I did put dimensionals on the back of this. And let's see, do I have a sheet? I do. So I put one in the corner and one in the middle. And we will take the backings off. This card comes together really quick. And when I have my classes, I usually try to do a hard one, or a more, not hard, but more involved one, and then a little bit less. And the last one, I try to make it really simple. So this one is the simple card, and I'll have everything cut, and all you had to do in class was put it together, basically. That way we keep our class from getting too long. Of course, it depends on how much talking we do, how long the class is. Sometimes it goes pretty late. I actually do 3 Thursday night and 2 on Fridays. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. All right, now we're going to place this down and try to kind of have the borders on the sides and the tops and bottom pretty as equal as we can. Then we're going to take our embellishments, and I used a different, on this one I didn't use any that have any kind of sparkle to them, and then this one I decided I wanted to put a little sparkle, so we're going to actually use this. So I'm going to take a medium size and a small one. Oh, I guess, I'm sorry, they're only medium and smaller, so we're going to do 2 small at the top. And then I think I'll put a larger one at the bottom. They're very pretty. I like them. Yellow is one of my favorite colors. So, okay, and guess what? That's it. We are done. So here is the one we did for the sample. And here's the one that we just completed. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you know how much I appreciate whether you take it time to watch me in the daytime or in the evening, but at least you spend a little time with me, and I do so appreciate that. And may God bless each and every one of you, and I'll hopefully see you next week. Bye-bye.